Hello, this is Gavin Palmer with Hero Looking for Group. So I decided to revisit Buckminster Fuller. Um, I he came up um, when I was speaking with Griswold Grimm, and I feel like I'm trying to basically figure out what I should be paying attention to, and I have mentioned the Venus Project and a resource-based economy, and I received pushback that the uh, the Jacques Fresco who started the Venus Project is a fraud. And I was just thinking how I spent a lot of time uh, with the Zeitgeist movement, who pointed me to the Venus Project and Jacques Fresco, and ultimately all of those ideas stemmed from this guy, Buckminster Fuller. And so I wanted to focus on Buckminster Fuller. So I'm only 45 minutes in, and you can see that this video is 7 hours, 10 minutes. So I'm 48 minutes in, and I took some notes. But, Buckminster Fuller, he's trying to help humanity. His nickname, I guess, is Trim Tab, and he talks about uh, technology related to giant ships and giant airplanes. And trim tabs are used on these airplanes to help them change course. And he has been trying to be a trim tab for the last 50 years when he did this video. And his hope, I think, is that humanity may be able to disembark on a very new kind of relationship with the universe. And it probably has something to do with his relationship with the universe, and that where, he committed himself to not exploit and not um, yeah, so yeah, he wanted to go along with evolution. So a great deal of money ends up coming his way, and he has to make sure that he is investing it back in research and development. And he says there must be no cushion whatsoever. I must live absolutely naked. You should note that he's wearing a suit and tie. This is what bothers me. He says there's no cushion, but he is wearing a suit and tie, so it's all kind of relative. But I think the idea would be that he's trying to avoid a lifestyle where he is seeking luxury. Now, he might not be doing that perfectly, and that's a kind of a difficult dilemma. But he feels that he is trustworthy, and he has made mistakes, and he tries to learn from his mistakes. No one is perfect, so I imagine he's still making mistakes and learning from mistakes at the point when he's making this video. Nobody is perfect. So, just as he doesn't really plan, and so just as he needs something to appear, it appears if he's on the right track, and if it isn't, he changes course. And that's how he goes about his life. And I feel like that's kind of it's part of his religion, and he would imagine that humanity could live in this way and have a relationship with the universe in this way. And this first part, he talks about his story. So in 1927, his daughter was born, and was born 5 years after her sister had died at the age of 4. So, and he also his father had died when he was very young, so he kind of had some tragedy. I write that down because I grew up with a tragedy. My mom died when I was 2 years old, so it just resonates with me. And he tried to learn how to play the game, but he was no good at it. So when it came down to when he had to make a decision between making money or building a good house, he would always build a good house. And this is the conflict between the goal of making money versus doing good work. And it's an interesting idea to struggle with. It's like, how can you, because he says the money comes, lots of money has come in. And he would say, as a result of trying to build a good house and, how did he put it? He put it, going along with evolution. So because he's going along with evolution, he's trying to build a good house, and the money has come. But he's not seeking the money, and he's not seeking the luxurious lifestyle. So that's interesting. It's almost like a contradiction that when you don't seek the money comes. And so long as you aren't just using the money for luxury, it will continue to come, so long as you're learning from your mistakes. This is I would call it the prosperity gospel, which a lot of people speak against. And for good reason. I mean, sometimes you end up in situations where it is difficult. Like you can be stuck at the bottom. So this strategy that Buckminster Fuller used, I think it applies for certain people. He says that anyone in the world could do this, but there are people who are stuck at the bottom where they don't have clean water, and they have to spend all of their time trying to get clean water, and their life revolves around water. And so it's hard when you're stuck at the bottom. So I disagree with Buckminster Fuller that everybody can do what he's doing, but I think there's a lot of people that can do what he's doing. And if there was enough people trying to do what he was doing, then you could end up in a world where all the people who are stuck at the bottom would no longer be stuck at the bottom, and they would have more opportunity and potential. So one thing that I found interesting is that in relation to this newborn child in 1927, in order for this child to be as wonderful as she could be, if when she grew up she had found that Buckminster Fuller has spent his whole life trying to get special advantage for her in a situation of great privation for many, that's all the people who are stuck at the bottom, she would not be very happy about it. But if she grew up and found that Buckminster Fuller had really tried to advance the overall conditions of humanity, she would be happy about it. And that was kind of his goal. And I think that's really good and noteworthy goal for parents. Most parents aren't doing this, and I'm a parent, so I really think this is something that parents should think about. He also mentions how, people are trying to do more with less. They're trying to be able to take down large battle cruisers with airplanes and eventually with electronics. And as a result of trying to do more with less, he realized that we would be able to do so much with so little. You might be able to take care of all of humanity. And that was visible in 1917. And by 1927, he was convinced that this acceleration had been going on and it would be possible to take care of everybody. So basically, we have the technology to take care of everybody. And I would claim we just don't have the will. We don't have enough people who want to take care of all of humanity. And what I mean by that is people are always pointing at someone else and saying, those are the people who are to blame for the situation we're in, instead of pointing their finger at themselves and saying, what can I do to help change the situation we're in? And that's what I like about Buckminster Fuller, is he's pointing the finger back at himself and saying, what can I do? And that's what I encourage. And I thought this was noteworthy. You got to have your spouse be willing to do it. He said his daughter was too young to provide input, but his wife was willing to, do this experiment to try to commit completely and entirely to relying on, experimental evidence and trying to serve humanity. And when you do that, you're dealing with a very large responsibility. Like this is this is my religion. It was Buckminster Fuller's religion, and the question is like, how many people share this religion, and why can't we get together and try to do good work? And so nature is always and in every way transforming, and you must join in the transforming by understanding the principles. It's pretty good. And, I questioned some of the things he said, but I think his heart was in the right place. And he talks about the one thing that really dominated was love. And it was love, for himself and his family. He talked about how he loved his daughter. That's who he was thinking about. And he loved all of humanity. And every human just has unlimited potential. And he really loves every human, and I resonate with that as well. And this is where I may disagree with him. You either have to make up your mind to make money or make sense. They're mutually exclusive. That may have been true in his situation, but I actually think that there's this thing called skills stacking. And so you can be in a situation that seems meaningless, where you're making money, but you're also developing skills such that those skills will help you. Because he had all of these experiences. He talks about it. He was in the military, and he had all of this training and experience, and it was valuable. And he says something about our experiences are for humanity. They should be shared with humanity. And so you could be in a situation where you're playing the game and you're making money and you're learning skills that are valuable. And then one day you may have the opportunity to try to make sense. And whenever you're trying to make sense, you're trying to build a good house and you're working with people who are trying to build a good house, the skills you learned while you are making money can be helpful. That experience that you had while you were trying to make money can be helpful. So I don't look at it exactly like this. And I don't think Buckminster Fuller, if I could have a conversation with him, I think he would agree with me here, is that, he talks about how nature, she uses us to accomplish this goal of, I forget, I would like to use his words. Well, yeah, nature has, so what is the function that nature expects us to perform, and what she has to do to help us perform that function effectively? And so making money is part of that function. So eventually you can be in a world where money doesn't matter. It's not important. And that can be for you as an individual, and that can be for humanity as a whole. And so nature will use it at every turn in the game that nature is playing. And so, I think Buckminster Fuller would agree with me on this. It's like, it's all beautiful. Even the stuff where he says he wasn't good at making money. You could be good at making money, and the things you're learning can be helpful in helping humanity reach a future where money isn't important and all people have their basic needs taken care of. And we have a new relationship with the universe, as Buckminster Fuller put it. But I'll leave a link to my Discord server below. I will continue to go through this video and take notes. And I appreciate your attention. So get in touch. Thank you for your time. This is Gavin Palmer with Hero Looking for Group.